How do I improve my kids' motivation? So this is a totally a trick question. So, um, yeah, I don't even know where to start with this, but I'll keep it broad. So this is where I'm going to give a huge asterisk before I say anything, which is your mileage may vary. So every kid's situation, every parent situation is different. I'm going to give you some very broad ideas to keep in mind that may not particularly pertain to your situation. So make sure that you run this by your therapist and or psychiatrist and or behavioral or qualified mental health professional before you implement this stuff. Okay. So let's talk in broad topics really quickly. So motivation meaning the desire to do something that you want to do. So keeping in mind that most kids, and when I say kids, I mean basically anybody less than the age of 18, every child is motivated. Every child. The only time that I see kids truly like lose a desire or a drive to do anything is either, I don't know, when they're asleep. Now, I mean, because other than that, they're always wanting to do something or say something or be somewhere. Yeah, either they're asleep or they're like medically sick. So like if you're has a virus and they're like laid up on you and don't want to run around, okay, yeah, they're not very motivated. But if they're not sleep or sick, there's something in there. And so when I hear parents say, "Hey, my kid's not motivated," oftentimes it means that they're really upset about something, like they're something is not going the way that they want it. And then part of their response, part of their coping skill is to do as little as possible. And depending on the age of your kid, it gets more intense. So teenagers have they have an amazing ability to be unmotivated for longer periods of times. Most younger kids, so you're less than 12-year-olds, they don't really wallow. Teenagers can wallow if you're not careful. And so let's talk about teenagers first, and then we'll come back to little kids. So how do you improve motivation in teenagers? Most times you can just ask them, "Hey, what's up?" Number one, and then number two, how can you help? And they will tell you what they need. "Hey, I just really felt that it was unfair that this happened, or I really want to get my driver's license, or I want my phone back, or whatever." They will generally tell you what their motivating factor is, and then you can use that to incentivize them. "Hey, if you're motivated to go hang out with your friends, if you bring me, an 85 on this quiz, then we can talk." Right. So they're especially teenagers who are verbal. You can just ask them what their motivation is. Whereas with younger kids, sometimes you just watch what their motivation is. So most parents know their kids extremely well, and if they like crafting, or if they like to go outside and play, or to make slime, because apparently that's a really big thing for younger kids. And so, yeah, so just pay attention. And if for some reason those 12 and under kids aren't motivated by what they were motivated before, it could be that they're just tired of it and want to do something different. Could be that they're upset or sad. So you can always ask, "Hey, what's up with that?" But most times with that age group in general, you can just see it. And then you can use that to motivate them. So if they like slime, you say, "Hey, if you get all the room picked up, we can go and get some glue and get some borax and make some putty and do all that stuff," right? And they'll go, "Oh my God, this is great." And then they'll run off and do whatever you need them to do. And so, yeah, watching the younger age kids will help you figure out what their motivation is. And then asking the older kids will help you figure out what their motivation is. Keeping in mind that, especially for teenagers are like water. They take the path of least resistance. And so you're not going to get water to ever flow uphill, ever, 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 unless you build a system to make it happen. And so, yeah, so if you let a teenager wallow, if they're just sitting there going, "Oh my God, nothing's going to get better, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not motivated," you just walking up to them and saying, "Hey, get up and go do something," that's probably not going to work, because they tend to wallow. So yeah, you're going to have to be a bit more hands-on with them to get them out of any type of funk, and to help motivate them. But the key is, yeah, talk to them. And when I say talk, I do not mean lecture. So that's a whole other topic for another day. You telling a teenager what they need to do Ooh, that don't end well, because all teenagers think that their parents are stupid. So y'all gonna have to be real careful with that one. And so I don't lecture. Instead, I encourage every parent to say, "Hey, how can I be helpful? You seem unmotivated. How can I be helpful? Looks like you're having a rough day. How can I be helpful?" See the recurring theme here. So motivation can be tricky. Keep in mind age grouping. Keep in mind that you're not going to be perfect with it. That's why therapists do what therapists do. So if you're like, this isn't working and this video clip is terrible, I'm going to say that's because you're the wrong person doing it, and you need to go get your kid into therapy. And so if you have questions about those things, of course, we would love to hear from you at hello@simplypsych.com, because that's what we do.